It's time for Windows Weekly. Paul Thurrott's here. Mary Jo Foley's here with a big story. I warrant the biggest story in the last 5 years. Yes, there's going to be a new Windows. The details are coming up. They're scant, but we'll have them. We'll also talk about Build, some of the interesting things Paul learned from the Build conference. If you're a developer, you'll want to stay tuned for that. And Microsoft warns of a new Cyberattack from Cozy Bear. It's all coming up next on Windows Weekly.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Windows Weekly with Paul Thurrott and Mary Jo Foley. Episode 727. Recorded Wednesday, June 2nd, 2021. Windows goes to 11. This podcast is supported by AT&T Active Armor. Right now, our lives are on our phones, and with our phones full of live-streamed exercise classes, midday work calls, and nightly family video calls, there is no room for fraud calls. Thankfully, AT&T makes customer security a priority, helping block those pesky calls. It's not complicated. AT&T Active Armor, 24/7 proactive network security and fraud call blocking to help stop threats at no extra charge. Compatible device and service required. Visit att.com/activearmor for details. And by Audible. Audible is the leading provider of spoken word entertainment. Delve into your next title on Audible with Audible Plus. New members can try Audible Plus for 30 days. Download the Audible app and get started with a free trial at audible.com/Windows or text Windows to 500-500. And by IT Pro TV. Thinking of expanding your IT skills with the certs to prove it? Visit itpro.tv/Windows for an additional 30% off all consumer subscriptions for the lifetime of your active subscription. Just use the code WW30 at checkout. It's time for Windows Weekly, the show where we get together every week to talk about Windows. It's aptly named, you might say. Mary Jo Foley is here from allaboutmicrosoft.com, also aptly named. Paul Thurrott from the eponymous Thurrott.com.
Lazily named.
Couldn't get more apt than that. What's it about? Thurrott. What else?
Yeah.
And it's good to have you both together. They make the dynamic duo of Microsoft Reportage.
Wow.
Yeah. Coming off Build, were there any final thoughts? I mean, we did the thing on Wednesday.
You know what? We're going to talk about that, but
you got some last.
There is bigger news.
Bigger news than Build?
Bigger news.
What is it?
It just
Build was
happened.
it's so last week.
Breaking news. Get the Nyan cat.
We have the date for the big unveil of the next Windows.
What? What? What do you mean the next
June
Windows? What does that mean?
24th.
June 24th. You're not talking about 21H1.
No. That's
out. That's done.
I'm also not talking about 21H2 either.
What are you talking about? Windows 11?
Yeah, maybe. Or
Really?
just plain Windows or whatever they call
They may
it.
rename it. Is this the Sun Valley, the rumored Sun
Yes.
Valley?
Yes.
So how is this going to change? What is this going to mean?
Okay. So the invites went out today. It's going to be a virtual event open to the public on June 24th.
Okay.
They just say on the website and in the invitation, what did Panos actually say? Because Panos also tweeted it. He said, "Looking forward to June 24th. I hope you'll join us at Microsoft event." And then the URL for the event has Windows event in it. So he doesn't say like next version of Windows 10. And if you go to Panos's tweet, which is actually an animation, you see the sun passing through
A valley.
It's like the
sunny
sun
valley.
shadow moving slowly. Get it, sun. And some people also think it's showing an 11 in the reflection from the window.
That's wild.
Really?
But yeah,
That
look
would
at
be
it.
a big
Look at it
story.
closely.
Really?
Look at it closely. Really.
All right.
Really.
So I'm going to pull up this.
Call up Panos's tweet.
The tweet or the page?
The tweet. No, look at the tweet because that's where the little hint
Okay.
is.
Twitter.
So you think the two windows, it becomes an 11?
That's what some people are saying. I'm not saying I think that.
I mean, it
just saying-
does sort of do away with the middle,
It
what do
does.
you call that thing in the middle of the window
Yeah.
there? It's a slant
Yep.
or whatever.
It's time they got rid of the pane. Oh, maybe that's what the slogan's going to be. Get rid of the pane.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
That's way too clever for Microsoft, Leo, but
It is. It is kind of
that's
clever.
good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Oh, I see
Yeah.
the sun's moving.
See how the sun is moving? That to me is Sun Valley, right? So we think the next Windows has the Sun Valley UI refresh. We think it has a new store. We think it has new touch controls to make it more touch friendly. Yeah, those are what we've kind of heard as leaks.
And
right?
so the what's going through that is actually not what you would see if there were sun
you were
shining
looking
through
through.
this plus
Right.
sign. You would see a plus sign. So the
Yeah.
fact that it doesn't have the crossbar and does really look like 11, I'm gonna go with that is Windows 11,
yeah,
which
it looks like the Twin Towers to me, but that has
Yeah,
nothing to
me
do
too.
with
I-
anything.
Yeah,
let's not say that.
No,
I was
no.
thinking the same
That wouldn't
thing.
be a good memory. That would not be a good memory.
right.
No,
That's
but
really
here-
interesting.
Yeah, I'm thinking it means it. Well, I think they are going to call it Windows something. Some people think just plain Windows. Some people think Windows 11. We even have a guest for Windows 10X from our friend Taro because he said, "Hey, they just killed
I think-
10X. They could use that name, right?"
They have to have a brand for the public, and of course, they have to continue versioning somehow, right? So,
Right.
I wish they would just go Windows, and it could be version 11. Who cares?
Yeah.
11 point
Yeah.
whatever. But I don't know. I bet they don't.
I know. You don't really?
No, I think it's too
You
generic.
think they're going to call it 21H? Oh, you don't think they're going to call it 21H2 though, right? This is much bigger.
No, that's just a version name. I mean, I think it's either going to be Windows 10 still or Windows 11 is my guess.
Yeah.
I wish they would just call it Windows.
Yeah, that would be probably the right thing to do. But then they couldn't do Windows 12.
Sure.
Yeah.
They probably want to preserve
remember,
that possibility.
They did say Windows 10 was the last version of Windows.
Yeah, that's what's
They did
bugging me a
actually
little.
say that.
I'm bugging
Yeah,
out.
but you know what though, the world changed a little there, and
It did.
they could
It
make
did.
this argument that because of this work from home thing that we believe is the new normal, and
Yep.
Windows is so important again. We're just following the trends.
They should never have. It was foolish to say the last
Yep.
version of Windows.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's like saying,
Yeah.
I'm going on a diet and I'll never be fat again.
Well, I mean, usually when you
learned
say
that
something's the last one, you're done. Like, IBM
Yeah.
has completed the production of the IBM PC Junior.
Yeah, that's it. It's over.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean there's going to be a PC Junior 2 next year. It means we're done.
right.
Right.
Um,
right.
And clearly
No,
they're
I
not
think
done
I
with
think
Windows.
they have to call it something new, right? Like they want to make it a big deal. They want to show it's different in look, feel, and operation from Windows 10. They want to make a distinction, right? So they can't call it Windows 10 something. I feel like they got to call it a different number or just Windows, but I think that just Windows complicates a lot of things.
But who are they trying to excite here? I'm excited. No, I mean, but I mean, like
really
the world.
good. Who are you trying to excite here?
Guys,
I mean,
look at your
look-
Twitter and look at your Discord.
Yeah, but also look at what that is compared to the normal world. I mean,
I know.
This is a small audience, relatively speaking, who will be excited by this. I mean, I know there are 1.3 billion, whatever
Right.
the number is, but
So my other thing that I put into my post, I really think this is a hat tip to OEMs also. OEMs want Microsoft to come out with something where they can put on the box,
yeah,
you need this new PC because it really runs Windows 11 really well, right? Like they want to give them a way to sell new hardware, right?
okay.
They're trying to help them, I feel like. And
I just don't think there's an audience out there waiting for this. Like, I wasn't really going to buy another Windows PC, but
I
this
know.
sounds really exciting.
I know.
I just don't.
I know.
I don't know.
Yeah. No, here's
I mean, I
another
can't wait to see it.
interesting-
I'm pumped
I know.
for it. Not to steal his phrase,
Pumped?
but
Did you just say pumped?
I know I can't.
Who
help
are you,
myself.
Panos
But
Panay?
no, no, I am not.
Yeah. No. Here's another odd and interesting little clue. So Bloomberg must have called Microsoft and said, "Okay, you just sent out these invites for this. What is this thing?" So here's what Microsoft seemingly told them. They said the software will change the design, add opportunities for developers via the Windows App Store, so there'll be the new store, and listen to this part: more easily build connections between users and communities they care about. What's that?
Discord? They're going to buy Discord. No.
I know. If they bought Discord,
I
I'd
know.
say
You
they're
know
going
what
to
it is?
integrate Discord.
Teams.
What?
It's Teams.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh God,
Oh, yeah,
Teams will
maybe.
be built in. God,
Maybe.
jeez.
Yep. Comes with Teams.
Maybe.
Comes with Teams.
I thought there wasn't
yeah.
enough shovelware in Windows today.
No, and you know what? I feel like this is going to be an OS they target at consumers, right? Like, I don't think this is going to be something they try to sell to enterprises. I really think when they announce this and show you, it's for consumers, right? So
Again,
it'll be Teams.
that's
It'll be the Teams
fun,
consumer
but-
stuff. That's what I think they'll do. Yeah, you're right, Leo. It's going to be Teams. Of course, it's going to be Teams.
Duh.
It's always
No,
Teams.
you know what I was
always
thinking? I was
Teams.
thinking Pinterest.
Why does it have
I
to
was
be
thinking
Teams?
Pinterest.
Pinterest. Well, had they,
My
but
mind went to
you know,
Pinterest.
that might explain why they were interested in Discord, maybe. you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Oh, yeah, totally. Right. Yeah.
But since they didn't get it, then
Right.
the
They got to come
communities.
up with something else.
See, nobody
It's
in
not
my
GitHub.
community is on Teams, but you know.
I know.
So
it's not
y-
GitHub.
Do you really think that Microsoft wants to be in the consumer space?
Yes.
Why?
They
Desperately.
really, really want to.
Why?
Oh, badly.
Money?
Because
it's
they're
big. Yeah.
Yeah, money. They're already they've cornered the enterprise.
It's also the
where are they gonna expand?
newsworthy part of tech, right? Nobody cares about a new blade being added to a cloud server, or, Oracle updated their database to version 18.63, where, nobody cares about that stuff, even though it's big money.
Yeah.
It's not interesting. I mean, Apple
Yeah.
gets all the headlines. They've been jealous of this for 20
Yeah.
years now.
No, and Panos is very jealous and emulative, if that's a word, of Apple.
Emulative.
Believe
He
it's
likes to
pronounced
emulate
emulative.
Emulative? I like that.
Yeah, that's how we pronounce it in Pennsylvania. I wasn't going to say anything.
Emulative.
We're emulative.
No, he wants Microsoft to be Apple. I mean, you can feel it. And so he's dying for them to have a consumer success, and they don't have one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
This is what I think is going to happen.
I'm ecstatic that they're putting resources behind Windows, that they're going to update the thing in some way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love it. But, again, I don't think this is going to change any worldwide perception of this thing. I mean, honestly, what's success for Windows today? You stem the flow of users to Chrome OS and the Mac? Is that the goal? Like, or do we really think there's, yeah. Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's kind of what I'm getting at, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What flow? Is there a flow?
Well, I mean, if you look at yeah, there is. I mean, last year obviously was the biggest year ever for Chrome OS. The Mac, it has the M series of chips. They're going to have. They're experiencing a resurgence now. Intel is. I know this is kind of tangential, but Intel, like Microsoft, used to be like 80+% of the market. Now they're like 60% of the market.
What if this was an ARM? The new Windows on ARM. There's no rumor that that's the case.
No.
No, I mean, there will be.
not ready.
I don't think
They're not really
They're
ready.
not ready enough.
They're not ready.
No, they're
Yeah.
not even close, right?
So
No, this is going to be a lot of smoke and mirrors plus a new store, right? Like, there's going to be a lot of
Well, hold on a
new
second.
icons.
By smoke and mirrors, Mary Jo means user interface.
Design. I do. I mean, like, rounded corners, like cool icons, and like consistency across apps, the built-in
Mary Jo,
apps.
that's not smoke.
one
That's
cares.
fire. That's
I know. Yeah. Things that no
that's
one
the
really
good stuff.
cares about except people who care about design. Right.
except for
So-
super.
they'll
or
announce
superficial
this. When will this Windows 11? When will it come out? Is it
Yeah, that's
announced in June for
Right.
for fall or what?
Yeah, that's what I
I'm-
hear. I hear
Okay.
fall.
Okay, you are thinking it's going to be that soon, because when you
Yeah.
said it wasn't necessarily 21H2, I was thinking, well, does that mean next
I
year?
think it comes out alongside 21H2. That's my guess.
Well, wait a minute. Then that implies that Windows 10 will continue.
Yeah, I think Windows 10 has to continue because IT doesn't care about any of these things that we just talked about at all.
So now I'm thinking, wow. So if Windows 10 continues, so there'll be a 10 and there'll be an 11?
That's my guess. Guess, pure guess. I don't know anything for a fact.
No, we don't know. We don't
No.
even know 11. But
we don't.
if they keep Windows 10, they can't just call this Windows. They might say, remember they had
could.
Windows for work groups? Maybe they'll have
Yep.
Windows for
Ooh.
family time.
Home groups.
Windows, modern Windows.
Modern Windows.
Oh, no, you can't do that. you can't call anything modern because whatever was modern
Windows
in
for
1960
life.
looks dated today.
To be clear,
Windows for life.
this is still Windows. I mean, nothing's changed.
It's Windows. It's totally
Everything's
Windows. It's
changed
Windows
now.
with it's
Everything.
Windows with some pretty new icons and some new touch controls and a store.
Oh, interesting.
It's Windows. It's totally Windows.
So this is really a marketing thing.
Yes, it's definitely a marketing thing.
Okay.
Yeah. And now I'm going to be banned for life by Panos for saying this, but that's okay because I'm just saying what I really believe, okay?
Maybe he'll just call it Windows Sun Valley. I mean, that would be kind of interesting. Just especially if you're
Yes, as a
emulative.
marketing game, sure.
Yeah, if you're emulative of Apple, that's what they do.
How many ways
It's a
we pronounce
emulative
this?
a word. I just want to know. I want to know.
But I really
It is
like
now.
it.
It is now.
I really
right? It's a
like it.
word.
The emulatives have arisen from
Yeah.
the planet Romulon.
Yes.
Emulative. It sounds good.
Isn't that a
doesn't
good
it?
word?
It is a good word. I made it up. but-
If you're
By the way,
Yeah.
hold on. Can
Yeah.
I have a humble brag moment for 1 second?
please, you never do that.
Okay, on Twitter I did today because Zach Bowden and I were joking on May 25th about when will this event happen, and I said I call it June 24th.
Wow.
Guys,
How did you know?
Mary Jo,
Here.
I require you to leave this podcast immediately. Go buy a lotto ticket.
I know. No,
just,
you want to
you know.
hear how I came up with this date? Okay, this shows you how my mind works. My mind works like a Microsoft PR person's mind works on this, right?
You're like a person who has serial killers. You have to think like they
Yeah,
think.
you do, right? So if you're PR, here's what you do.
Yep.
You want to do the event in June. So you look at the first week, you're like, no, because people just came back from Memorial Day. Second week, Apple WWDC, definitely a no, right?
Yeah.
Then the next week, you're like, maybe the week of the 14th. But then you're like, wait, the 4th of July is right after the last week. So you know when you do it the third week of the month.
Okay.
Right, because
but why
it's
on a
right before the
Thursday? What is this
Because
Thursday?
all their
I know.
events are Thursdays.
Oh, they are. Okay.
I mean, the big events are typically Thursdays.
Do you think it has anything to do with the fact that I have dinner reservations at the French Laundry
Yes.
that night?
Actually,
really?
I'm concerned that they didn't schedule this for the 1 week in June where I am on vacation.
I know,
And
that's what they
normally
should have
they
done.
would have nailed that, and they didn't do it.
They blew it.
Yeah.
The COVID has
Like
ruined
we're-
everything.
Yeah, we're a
Paul.
little rusty.
Yeah.
a little rusty.
Yeah. Just another COVID
Did my shared
issue.
calendar link get out of date or something? Come on, guys.
So it's
Yeah.
the announcement of a new Windows is a big deal. I remember Windows 95, Start Me Up,
Yeah.
and all of that, and they
Yeah.
had tents and
Yeah.
clowns and balloons, and then I remember when.
And that's just the employees.
And I remember when they announced Windows 8 was a big deal. Windows 7 was huge. Remember they wanted you to have a house party to celebrate Windows 7.
Yeah.
Is
They
this
didn't really have
on that
anything for
order?
Windows. Well, they didn't do one for Windows 10, right? Not really.
No.
They just gave it away for free for a year.
Well, they didn't have a launch event, like a launch event. They didn't really do
Right.
that.
So will this be free? Will there be an upgrade? We don't know. None of that.
Oh, that's a good question.
I can't
Right.
imagine this isn't going to be free to existing users, and obviously,
but will it automatically work on all existing Windows 10 hardware? I don't know.
how could it not?
If they do something really crazy with the touch stuff and the hardware isn't capable of it somehow, I could see that happening, I guess.
I don't know. I don't see.
Right?
I can't imagine they would do that now.
I mean, Windows 10X was only going to run on new hardware, right? It wasn't going to run on
Yeah,
existing
yeah.
hardware.
Yep.
So they could.
But it's a completely different kind of system. I mean, this is just going to
I
run
know,
the same
right,
apps. It's
right.
this. It's just a
Yeah.
kind of a lipstick on the pig situation, really.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wait,
Paul.
did you just say that? Did you just say that? Because that's what I was saying, and you said no. You said no. It's
No,
design
no.
is important, blah blah blah.
I see both sides of this. I mean, it is important. The lipstick on a pig thing was actually just arbitrary UI changes, so someone could look over someone's shoulder and tell
Yeah.
what version of Office they were
Yeah.
using. I mean, I think in this case,
right.
look, Firefox just came out with a new version yesterday. We talked a lot about Big Sur on the Mac front and iOS 14 on the iPhone front, and these are UX refreshes that I really do think are important.
Yeah.
Even if they,
Yeah.
the underlying system is exactly the same, it runs the same apps, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, it's important to keep things fresh.
Oh, there was another leak right before Memorial Day. I forget who leaked this. Sorry, whoever it was. But somebody said they saw an internal build where you had like what did they call it? The charms bar in Windows 8 where you slid over something to be able to do like sharing and other things. I'm like, oh man, don't bring back all the Windows 8 stuff that didn't work, please.
Mm-mm.
But that could be part of the touch thing, I'm like, oh no.
June 24th. So I guess we will have to do an event, yes?
11 a.m. That's the other key. 11 a.m.
11, and that's 11 Eastern or 11 Seattle time?
Does it
Eastern.
make sense
Eastern,
to
8 a.m. my time.
maybe switch with somebody and do Windows Weekly on Thursday that week?
Oh,
Yes.
Like at the
that would be
normal
good.
time, right?
that would actually be good because then we could talk all about it.
Let me speak
right?
to the people in charge here at the network.
Yeah.
And,
Okay.
And we have 3
Thanks.
weeks. It's
Yeah.
not an
No, that would be
emergency.
good. That'd
but
be really good.
yeah, we can move it. Would you guys want to
that'd be awesome.
join us at 11 a.m. for the event and then stick around to do Windows Weekly after?
We could.
Well, yes and no. So the only issue is I want to be able to. I have to write about
You
it.
have to file.
oh, right. We both have to file. That's true.
And who knows? Maybe they'll brief us ahead of time.
I bet they won't. I'm
Yeah, that's what I'm
no
thinking
on
too.
this.
So maybe
Because they know.
Yeah.
They know you
Yeah,
gave us
good
a
call.
leak.
Good call. We need a little
I mean, I
time
don't-
just to write a story.
Yeah, like if so it's 11 o'clock Eastern. Is that the Eastern
Eastern.
time or the
Yep.
Eastern?
Eastern.
So
Yep.
and it's probably going to be an hour-ish, maybe a little bit longer. I mean,
You don't have to join us. We'll find other Windows experts. It's okay.
no. What I was thinking was more along the lines of we could join the live when the announcement is there, and then get off to write, and
Yeah.
then come back.
Oh, yeah.
At the normal
that's good.
time or something. Something
Yeah,
like that. I don't know.
At the normal time. Oh,
What,
I
do
see.
Windows Weekly at
you mean
2, right?
you want me to stick around all day Thursday, even though I have reservations at the French Laundry? I have to get my hair cut. I have to get my tuxedo
French
pressed.
laundry.
I don't know if I can.
You have to. I don't think it's that fancy, Leo.
It's pretty hard to get a reservation.
I would love
Yeah,
to go
yeah.
there. Oh,
Well, fly out, Mary Jo.
I know.
Come on out.
You've eaten there before, right?
Twice.
Yeah.
Well, it's local. That's why. I mean, it's a local restaurant.
yeah.
Well, not
No,
real
that's
local,
awesome.
but it's nearby.
We have a
Come on
local
out.
restaurant called Yako's. They sell really terrible hot dogs. It's very similar.
This is actually
similar.
their annual black truffle and caviar dinner.
Oh man. You can't miss that.
So we'll be celebrating. We'll drink. I'll toast Panos Panay and
Windows
Windows
So like a
11.
pig walk by, like a truffle pig walks by with like glasses of wine on his back. and
Probably.
you just take the wine.
Probably. Yeah.
man, that's awesome.
Probably. I'm thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, we should do something on the day. We can figure
Well,
out. what
actually,
works for
honestly, I
everybody.
almost
At the
prefer
very
to
least,
have.
do the show that day if we can.
Yeah. I almost
don't wanna
prefer
do
to
the
have
show the day
somebody
before.
else do the event so that you guys can do your job and then
Yeah.
do a Windows Weekly as close to there shortly
I know.
thereafter,
That's probably
only
good.
because I
That's
don't want
probably
to
good.
be there
Yeah.
all
No, that's-
day.
That makes more sense because people will be more excited.
Well, hold
about
on,
it
hold on.
right
Let's not
afterwards,
discount the Leo being there all day. I still think that's a good idea.
I'm doing it for Apple. I have to do it for Apple. We're going to do the public keynote in the morning, and then I think we're going to do the
The developer one too, really?
The
Nice.
developer one in the afternoon. I have to figure out if we're allowed to.
That's what I was. Is that public now? That because of the
Well, it
virtual
is. It's
stuff?
streaming, but in the past, Apple's kicked the press out
Yeah.
after the public
Well,
keynote. They
Oh,
said,
yeah,
thanks,
right.
bye-bye.
That's right.
Yep.
Yep, exactly.
So I don't know if we're allowed
Like
to.
as a developer, you could go see it from their site if you weren't there, but you couldn't. It wasn't just on YouTube.
Exactly. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure what exactly we're going to do.
By the way, newsflash: emulative is a word. Thank you, Dan Gamble. Who
It's probably not pronounced that way.
let's see. What does it say?
Not
Let's see.
a native. I'm an native.
Oh, I'm sure it's pronounced emulative.
Emulative.
Yeah.
Emulative.
Emu.
Emulative.
It's not pronounced the way I pronounce it.
No, but still, it's a word, guys.
Emulative. Emulative. You got to get the accent on the right syllable. It's
Exactly.
Leo got his French
Emulative.
laundry reservation, and now he's got his little pinky in the air, and he's.
Ah, French laundry. Okay, that's all I can think about for the rest of the day.
But you wouldn't like it because there's meat involved.
No. So I've been to the
that's
sister
where I come
restaurant in
in.
New York. Per se. No, Per se is their sister restaurant.
Yeah.
And they have a full vegetarian tasting menu.
Oh, I'm sure they do. Well, see, I don't know about French Laundry because Well, I'm sure they appreciate our vegetarian friends.
Yeah, they must have a way, right?
They must have a way.
Must.
Then maybe they
Well,
have
I'm
like
sorry,
do
you
they
won't
have
be
a
eating
pescatarian option?
course 3, 7, 5, 12, 14, and 22. We'll just pass you by. I don't know what they're going to do. You can put black truffles on anything. Do you eat caviar?
Yeah, I do.
Because that's just eggs.
I eat fish. I'm pescatarian.
Okay.
Pescatarian.
I'm sure we can. Come on out. You be our guest. Come on. Come on.
Don't tempt me, man. I have so many miles from not flying for so long.
I actually, I've asked other people and they've all said no.
Are you kidding?
Yeah. Well, so the only way I could get a reservation was by booking a table for 4. So Lisa and I said, well, no problem. I'm sure there are many people who would like to go with us. Surprise, surprise, but apparently not.
Wow. That's crazy.
So pretty soon I'll be taking volunteers from Club Twit, I think.
Right.
Anybody want to go? I'm lonely.
man.
So come on out, Mary Jo.
Oh, don't tempt me, man.
But
I
you
am
see,
like so tempted.
it's the worst possible day because you've got to cover this thing.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I would have to, like,
can't
if
be
I
on a
did it,
plane.
I'd have to come out early.
Come out, sit with me
a
on.
day or two before.
Okay, you could sit in the studio with us, do the event.
And type-
I'll leave you
type
alone
throughout
as
the
you
event.
type. How long does it take you to file?
Quick. I'm quick.
I'm told there's a vegetarian tasting of vegetables at the menu at the French Laundry.
Well, yeah. One might assume.
You'll be eating with the truffle pigs.
Truffles are vegetables, I guess.
They are. I love truffles.
I do too.
Yes.
It's a very special evening of black truffles and
Is
caviar.
that
It might be
the
that's
Linux
all.
laptop you're looking at?
Shh.
Just push it forward like half an inch. Oh, there you go.
Not only is it a Linux laptop, it's got Core Boot on it. They don't have It's an Intel chip inside, but they're not using the management engine or anything from Intel.
So it probably boots up really quick then.
Yeah, it does. And if you open the BIOS setup, nothing. Like there's one setting. It's like, oh,
Right.
we don't. There's nothing to turn on or off here. Just boot.
It's good.
Yeah.
Well, I have the Lenovo over here, but this one's a little newer, so I thought maybe I'd try
Nice.
something a little newer in the studio.
You think we weren't going to notice that, Leo? Seriously?
Yeah, I did actually. I should put a Windows logo over this.
Thank you.
You need a sticker to cover that.
I apologize.
Hide your shame.
Shocking. Well, this is, honestly, you're right. This is a huge story. There hasn't been a new version of Windows in how many
No.
years? 6 years? 7 years?
2012.
Actually, this
Is
year
that
will be
right?
9 years.
Well, no, Windows 10
No,
was
2012. Right. 2012 was
2015, 6
Windows
years.
8.
Well,
right?
10 counts.
2015. Right,
Yeah,
2015.
Windows 10.
2015.
Right. Yeah.
So it's almost 6 years. It'll be 6 years.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
And they said it'll be the last version of Windows, so it's a little bit of a
They
shocker.
did. Yeah, they did.
Just a little shocker. I don't know what to think about that.
I know.
Well, I hate to break this to you, but Microsoft isn't always honest. And
I was going to say consistent.
yeah, because that's right. They don't always write.
And yeah, if you think about it, they're really Windows has been Windows since probably Windows 7, right? There hasn't been substantial changes since 7. I would say.
I would
Well,
even
way
say
back.
Vista,
Windows,
really.
Windows, right?
Really, Vista was the big NT change, and 7 was just a polished.
the big
Vista.
NT change was 2000, Windows 2000,
right?
Yeah.
and then XP was.
But that was
they brought in
when
the consumer
you
stuff.
still had 2 roads. You had the consumer version 95 and
then,
98 ME, and then you had
XP got rid of that.
Right.
XP, so that was 2001.
So XP is probably the root of this.
of evil, yeah, yep,
Really, it's been XP refined every generation.
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
The big shift, of course, was Windows 8, where they went tablet.
Right.
Yeah.
That was a big UI shift. Under the covers, I'm sure it wasn't too different, but that was a big UI shift.
It was a little too big because
Well, as
they
it
kind of
turns out,
forgot
yeah.
about their PC users and their enterprise
Yeah.
users when they
Yeah.
did that. Yeah.
So will they bifurcate? Will they fork the road again and have a home version and a business
I
version?
know. That's what I think. I always thought they should do this.
Me too.
always thought they should.
Yep.
They thought they shouldn't. That's why
App
they stopped doing it.
compatibility is the only thing that matters. The rest of it can be completely different.
So this would be instead of Windows 10 Home, you'll have Windows 10 and you'll have Windows 11 or whatever.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
or Windows Home or Windows.
So this is, I would say this is comparable. Well, no, I was going to say something about like 9X and NT, but really it's not the same thing.
No.
The underlying platform is exactly the same.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
This is really disturbing. I'm sorry, but I'm just disturbed. I thought we were done with this.
No, you know what? I think it's good, and I think
We're
it's
getting the band
good.
back together, Leo.
Well, they need to tell insiders what's happening, right? Because then they're going to start, one would assume, start dropping builds of this with insiders if they keep the insider program as it is, right? So they have to show and tell people.
Plus, June 24th, I mean, if this thing is shipped on the normal date, we're talking about 4 months front to back.
I know.
Of public testing. If this thing actually, well, less really, I mean, you know, it's kind of aggressive.
It's already being tested inside Microsoft, right? And probably with OEMs also, right? Yeah. And that's why I also think there has to be a 21H2, because if you're going to drop this, say it does drop in October, you don't want to make that the version that has 30 months of support, because it won't have really been tested all that much externally. And IT doesn't want to support something for 30 months that hasn't been really, really tested, right? Like, that's just a no. Yeah.
It's interesting.
The timing is confusing.
So in theory, they've been, but see, we haven't. Wouldn't we have heard more if they'd been testing this for months, or no?
Well, we have heard things. I mean, you know, there have been, you know, little leaks here and there.
There have been leaks of, and we've seen some of the new icons already show up, right? Like they've been in insider testing and they've shown up in builds, right? So things have been trickling out, and then they're going to take, they say they're going to take some of the things they were building for 10X and make that part of whatever this is. So all that's been in development for at least 2 years, right?
Yeah.
So I think this thing has been tested, and like pieces of it have been developed pretty far along before we're going to see them put it all together in a nice package and show it. Right.
Okay.
And by the way, if it's mostly UX, I mean, maybe that minimizes how much testing has to be done in the public. It's the same interactions. It just looks different.
Yep.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Right now, we can only speculate.
I know.
It's really interesting.
Yeah. So there's a website for people who want to like get a reminder sent to them. Microsoft.com/en-us Windows/event.
Yes, we still care about Windows.com.
Yeah. That's what they should have done, right? WindowsMatters.com.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're going to have the event be public, which I think is really good, because some people were worried, would they just make it a private event for press and analysts and then just said, and here's a blog post. But they're not. They're going to have the whole event be shown.
Yeah.
With Panos, with Satya, right? The whole thing.
Wow. So. Hopefully a cherry-picked crowd of enthusiasts who will cheer loudly.
Oh, yeah. I wonder who will be in the audience.
Every icon and font change.
Right.
Wow.
I know. I've had some people ask me if I think they'll talk about cloud PC at this event, and I don't think they will. I think that's a little bit further behind. I think that's like a July or later thing, but I'm not 100% sure.
So what's the likelihood that this will be like a big surprise? Like not just like, oh, there's a new Sun Valley. Low. The walking cat will be like finding stuff, and like we've got several weeks before this happens. Right. So I think leaks will happen. I do. Wow. All right. Well, we'll be. We're here. We're covering it. That's only 3 weeks away. So, wow. And we will We'll stream it. I'll alert the troops, and I think we'll do. We'll move Windows Weekly from Wednesday to Thursday, from the 23rd to the 24th, so that we can. Because it'd be silly to do Windows Weekly the day before they announce the new Windows.
Exactly.
That'd be like
it would. It would.
Everything we're going to talk about will be obsolete tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's true.
Let's devote 2 hours to that, Bill.
Wow, that's just fascinating.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a little break, and then there is plenty more Windows news. There's a lot more to talk about. Paul Thurrott, Mary Jo Foley. Don't forget, if you're a Club Twit member, the Discord stage is up and running, and we will. This is the show where we've really been using that stage. We will take, if you guys still want to do it, comments, thoughts from our audience in about half an hour, 45 minutes. So get prepared for that. The stage is in the Discord. It says right at the top there in the live section, Eastside Live. There's a button to raise your hand if you have a thought. You don't have to do it now, but if you have a thought or a question and you'd like to talk to Mary Jo and Paul, we'll be doing that in just a little bit as we have before. More coming up in just a moment. This podcast is supported by AT&T Active Armor. Right now, our lives are on our phones, and with our phones full of live-streamed exercise classes, midday work calls, and nightly family video calls, there is no room for fraud calls. Thankfully, AT&T makes customer security a priority, helping block those pesky calls. It's not complicated. AT&T Active Armor, 24/7 proactive network security and fraud call blocking to help stop threats at no extra charge. Compatible device and service required. Visit att.com/activearmor for details. Paul Thurrott, Mary Jo Foley, Windows Weekly. Moving on, Windows on ARM.
Arum.
Arum.
If I could say emulative, I could say ARM.
Okay.
Vista 10 for ARM.
This is actually the developer kit. You got more on that.
Yeah, so last week I guess Qualcomm, remember they announced it the day before build started, then Microsoft talked about it. We had this speculation about the ports and what was going on there. And now we have the full specifications of the kit, and let me tell you, it's not going to blow you away. It's pretty low end. So we already knew Snapdragon 7C compute platform, which is kind of a mid-level chip. 4 gigabytes of RAM, 64 gigabytes of eMMC storage. Yeah.
Wow.
I know it's not good.
Well, they're maybe making a statement there that that's all you need.
I've used Windows 10 on ARM, and I'm telling you, it needs more than that. No. So, unfortunately, it's just the reality. But, but this isn't for, I guess to be fair to Microsoft and Qualcomm, this is not a system designed for you to go out and use it and replace your Intel NUC or something. It's designed for you to test apps on ARM64 native. So it should run a single app, no problem. I guess that maybe is the point. There's some Type-C, some Type-A on the USB front, micro SD, micro SIM card slot, HDMI, and 100 megabit per second LAN, just like the 1990s. Does have Wi-Fi 6.
What about pricing? Do you know the pricing on it?
No, I didn't say the pricing.
No.
I hope you're right. I think you had said $300 last week.
I know. I don't know where I saw that, but then I could never find it, of course.
Yeah, I hope that's true, because if this thing gets up $500-700, it's like you're not going to get a lot of takers for that.
Yeah.
Well, it's not intended for humans. It's intended for developers, right?
Yeah, but in our world, I mean, there will probably be as many, unless they put some kind of a weird block on it, there'll probably be as many enthusiasts that buy this thing as there are developers,
Okay. So maybe, but I mean, you could also buy an HP. There's other companies making
you could, but those things they start at about $1,200 and go up to past $2,000. I mean, they're expensive.
Right.
That's one of the issues, honestly. You would think Windows 10 on ARM, despite its nature, especially the first several renditions, are going to be underperform the Intel stuff. So it should be. Are you okay, Mary Jo?
She looks like she sees King Kong out the window. What do you see now?
They're power washing my windows. I'm like, are my windows shut all the way?
Yeah. You'd think they'd knock on the door and say, "Excuse me, Ms. Foley, are we about to hose down in front of the building?"
It's
like a wave of water
here.
come at her from.
No. I just see this guy with a giant power washing thing aiming it at my window.
They didn't say they didn't put out a piece of paper saying, "Close your windows, everybody. We're going to be power washing the facade."
I'm just like, oh my God, are my windows shut?
God.
That's amazing.
I hope the cat's not on the fire escape enjoying the weather. I mean.
No, sorry. I just freaked out when I saw this just
Paul, I'm impressed. Paul picked right up on that.
Well, I'm like, it almost, it makes me kind of want to look, like, is there something up there? I don't
You were like, is she that scared about the Snapdragon kit? No.
I'm like, it's not that amazing.
No, I'm just like, what are they going to do now?
Wow.
Yeah.
It's really living in New York is an adventure, isn't it?
It's always an adventure. Yeah.
You do more things before breakfast than the rest of us do all day.
Wow.
No, I'm sorry. That's the Marines. Never mind. Windows. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I Build was last week, and we talked a lot about Build last week. But the thing I've done since then is I spent a bunch of time, especially over the weekend, the long weekend, watching build session videos, and I started with the topics I cared the most about, and kind of went down from there, right? And so one of the things I was interested, I knew there wasn't going to be a lot. I mean, you can search the session list for things like Windows. You'll see there isn't that much. You could search for things like Project Reunion or Maui, and you come up with almost nothing, But there were some good sessions for sure. There was not, I don't believe there was an actual Maui only session, at least not that I could find. And I think that might have been true for Project Reunion too, although there was a what's new for Windows desktop application development that I wanted to watch. Unfortunately, it's like two guys I really like, Andrew Klinick and Thomas Fennell. I think they were trying to do like a Between Two Ferns joke the whole time, where they were just telling awkward jokes. And it was like, guys,
Plus, it was
I love
really
you,
dark outside, wasn't it? Where they were,
Yeah.
it was like pitch dark.
Well, I think that was they were trying to emulate that set, from that comedy show. Anyway, what I finally
hold on.
came.
What the hell is going on here?
What's wrong?
I don't know.
Was that you?
What happened?
Hold
wasn't
on
me.
there.
It was
What's
not
wrong?
me.
Were you
What
getting
happened?
a Skype call then or no?
No.
A Skype call came in somewhere.
Oh,
Are you
I
on
didn't even hear it.
Skype today?
Who?
You, Paul?
Me?
Yeah. No, you're
I'm-
on Zoom, right? You guys are on Zoom,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, we're
Right.
on Zoom.
Okay. Whoever's in the control room, and I don't know who it is these days, but make sure.
Make sure Skype
okay.
isn't running.
Skype was running, and he's quit it now. So
Okay. I'm like, no,
hard
it's
to
not
quit
me. I
your
have Skype
Skype.
off.
I did not notice, but we do have it on tape. So
I'm cheating on Zoom with Skype. Sorry.
you were just Skype bombed. That's hysterical. That was
I
our
didn't even
fault.
hear
I was like-
No, it's not you. It's because we had
no,
Skype
it was
still
weird.
on.
I was like, is that me?
Okay.
Is that
Yeah,
me?
no, Skype was running. So you're on the machine that in olden days ran Skype. For some
Yep,
reason, Skype
okay.
was running, and somebody called
Got
it.
it.
We had an incoming call.
That's funny. Okay.
That was weird.
Somebody wanted to be on the show.
What if it's important? Should we pause and see what
No,
it is?
if it's important, you'll join Club Twit for $7 a month.
There you go.
And you can just join us in the stage, and you can ask anything you want. Apologies, we'll edit that out.
that's okay.
Continue.
The show has just evolved into a series of non sequiturs. Anyway, it's okay.
Yeah.
I know.
So anyway, I went back and watched several sessions, and there is one. And again, it's kind of, if you care about Windows desktop app development, which I know just reduced the audience to like 6 people. There is that one major session, which again, unfortunately, they do the Between the Ferns or whatever it's called, kind of homage, but. Over, I know.
Do they actually do it that way, like Zach Galifianakis?
It's awkward. It's
Yeah.
not.
It
It
is.
was.
Don't do humor. Don't do
I
humor.
know it was probably well intentioned. It was not well done, but that's okay. So what I've kind of come away with is like Project Reunion is a good idea because of the reasons Microsoft has already expressed. Previously new APIs, new features for developers were tied to A, UWP, and B, to a specific Windows 10 version, right? And what they're doing is splitting that stuff out. So desktop developers can use that, and that means, Win32 C++ developers, Windows Form developers, Windows Presentation Foundation developers, as well as UWP developers can use all these new features. Does not matter which version of Windows you're using, as long as it's supported. These things will run on any supported version of Windows, which is today basically Windows. It's Windows 8, really, it's sort of, but let's just call it Windows 10, probably 1809 and up. I don't remember the exact version. So all good. But when you look at it, it's like, well, this is not the type of thing that. No one is going to create a new Windows-only app that's a big deal anymore, right? We can all sort of agree to, that's probably not going to happen. So this is of most interest to people who are updating existing code bases, right? They want to modernize an app. And that's cool. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I sort of at one point was excited that Project Reunion was like this unified future. And, I don't know anymore. And there are two other things that I think are potentially more interesting, especially for people who are interested in new things, right? New apps. Maui, which is a cross-platform native app development platform, right, that replaces Xamarin Forms. It's Android and iOS like before, but also Windows Desktop and Mac, right, which is very interesting. And then something called Blazor Desktop. And if you're familiar with Blazor, you know this is a Microsoft web technology. There were different versions of it. The original apps, I think, focused on server side. They started doing, I'm forgetting the name for this now. I'm losing WebAssembly, browser-based apps. And now starting with .NET 6, which is coming in November, they're going to do Blazor desktop apps, right? And so the reason those two things are interesting, Blazor Desktop and MAUI, is because I think they solve the problem with Project Reunion or anything that's just for Windows because they're cross-platform, right? These are apps that will run on multiple platforms. And I think that makes a lot more sense if you're going to do something new. You can create one code base and it runs everywhere. There are a lot of real-world problems to doing that, but from a high-level theoretical standpoint, it's a good idea. Kind of like Flutter, right? I think Flutter is kind of maybe one of the major, or React / React Native, whatever. Yeah. These are kind of the alternatives. So that's what it is. I mean, in going through the whole build thing, I was like, if you're going to create apps that run on Windows, I mean, and other than like little console apps or something, I mean, this is pretty much, these are your choices, right? Reunion, MAUI, Blazor, whatever forms of Blazor. I could say Blazor Desktop.
You know who knows a lot about Blazor, by the way, who we could have on the show sometime if we ever want to do more?
Can I guess?
Carl.
Oh, Carl. Okay, I wasn't going to guess Carl. So that's good. Yeah, actually, Carl, right at the beginning of the pandemic, if I'm not mistaken, was doing a Blazor Roadshow.
He was. Yep.
And he was in Philly, and I would have seen him, but I don't remember why now. I think I must have been away. Maybe I was traveling or something randomly. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's good. That's true.
Yep. Just saying.
Yeah, no, that's a good. That wouldn't be. That's a good idea, actually. Maybe, I don't. Is this in the notes? I think. Yeah. So the other the big thing that's happening this November, because MAUI is supposedly coming out. Project Reunion is coming out. And by the way, Project Reunion is a code name, so like they actually have to give that a name. Whatever they call it. Mm-hmm. These things are all going to be based on .NET 6, which is also coming out in November, and. That makes the end of this year kind of a big deal for Microsoft Stack developers. A lot of stuff happening.
Yeah. I wonder if they'll have. Well, they're going to have the .NET conference in November, right? Like that's already on the calendar. And
that's when it launches. The first day of the conference is the day that .NET 6 launches.
I know. You know what I keep wondering? I keep wondering if they're going to have Ignite in person, like towards the end of the year, like maybe even November, right? And then they could wrap a lot of this stuff into that, right?
Oh. I would like that.
Just guessing.
If you could go back to New Orleans, because I really had my heart set on that.
I know. Yeah.
That would be great. Yeah. The other thing I pulled out, and this isn't super developer related really, but I just hadn't written about it last week, was remember Microsoft a year ago at Build introduced its Windows Package Manager, which they called WinGet. WinGet 1.0 is now available. So this is the first non-preview version of this package manager for Windows. It's a command line only utility, which, obviously for now limits its scope. But one of the things that we didn't really talk too much, by the way, in our next generation Windows segment earlier is this notion of a new store. And also the ability for developers to take apps that used to be only for the store and package them for delivery to, consumers or anybody outside of the store. And I wonder if WinGet doesn't play into this new store / alternate ways of deploying software, because WinGet has a few of the things that you get with the store, right? This notion of you're acquiring software from hopefully a trusted source. It's keeping it up to date in the background. I wonder sometimes if this didn't happen to arrive at some future, we'll call it a Windows 11 store / other ways of getting software out into the world, right? It needs a GUI for one thing, et cetera, et cetera. But it seems like it could be the basis of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I guess that's like you're thinking there. Yeah.
It's just an idea. I always spent my.
But are they using Flutter?
Yes, they are in two places. One is for the Surface Duo. There's a Duo SDK for dual screen, and what was the other thing the Surface team did for Flutter?
UWP something.
Yeah,
remember UWP apps?
UWP. Yeah. How exciting.
Yeah. something. I like that.
Yeah.
Something.
Well, I mean, by the way, when you kind of go past Microsoft, I mean, there's all these other ways to develop apps that run on Windows too, right? I mean, there's the Uno platform, there's all the web stuff, and web is this story all to its own, and there's Flutter. I mean, Flutter does desktop apps too, and there's an appeal to that. So, yeah, you have a lot of choices, but that's what Windows is. I mean, it used to be like we used to kind of worry, like, what's a Windows app? Like, what is a Windows app? And it's like everything's a Windows app. I mean, we're at the point now where developers can use whatever they want, and consumers, users, whatever, don't have to worry about it. It doesn't matter how these things were built, right? They just work, and they have native features like notifications and offline and blah, 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 whatever. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It don't make no difference.
Nothing
It don't
but a
make no
thing.
never mind. It's nothing but a thing.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Moving along. By the way, I want to ask you about WinGet, because I saw your article about WinGet, and I know you just mentioned it. How complete is it as a package manager? You know, Windows has always suffered a little bit. Both Macintosh and Linux have package managers. Yeah, they're command line, but they're so powerful, it's a great way to set up a new system. I've used Chocolatey on Windows.
It's like, what's that thing? What was that thing? Nine-Night or?
Yeah, Nine-Night.
It's sort of that? No, because it's a command line.
Nine-Night's not a script. Nine-Night, you download, you say, I want this, this, and this, and you click a box and you download a thing that does it.
So there are GUIs that people have built, and Mehdi is one of the people who's built one of these, that run on top of WinGet.
I remember that. That's right, yeah.
Yeah, and but I feel like the natural end game here is for there to be an officially supported GUI, and it's something built into Windows or whatever. Because, I will say, for all of the complaining or worrying about the Microsoft Store in Windows 10, the truth is, if you can get software that you want through that store, it's really kind of the place to do it. The licensing is so liberal, you can install anything on multiple computers, no worries at all. You don't have to worry about product keys and deauthorizing and all that kind of stuff. I mean, for people like me, especially who use a lot of different computers, like, it's huge, it's really nice. When you can get software through the store, of course, you can't get everything through the store. So I think the point of WinGet is to open this up to the wider range of apps that are available. And because of the direction they went with it as a command line utility, obviously it's going to be used by IT admins in the beginning, and it's probably going to be used to provision laptops for, users and so forth. But I guess I'm kind of projecting a little bit. I look at this and I think, this could be the basis for this post-store experience, that we might learn about in 3 weeks. So it's just something to keep your eye on. I mean, something I'll be looking for, and maybe nothing happens, but I feel like WinGet might be the basis for something bigger.
That's cool.
Yeah. Well, potentially. I guess we'll see. Or I have no idea what I'm talking about. It could be either one of those things.
Yeah. I mean, I think, honestly, that's a rapidly becoming table stakes for any operating system. Now, does WinGet only install from the store, or can it install from?
No. In fact, one of the cool things about WinGet, so I'm going to, this is all screwed up because I don't know what's happening with the next big Windows version, but for the next, we'll call it like 21H2 as we kind of know it, I have this kind of list of new chapters / topics I want to cover in the book. And this was one that I have set up for the next version of the book. So, no, you can, as an individual, add software into the repository, and there's a whole process for doing that. When obviously you should look and see if it's not there first, right? We don't need 18 different versions of ways to get Chrome or something. But no, and because it's brand new, I guess if you were to compare it to the big Linux package managers, it's probably not as mature, full-featured / it doesn't have the biggest library yet or whatever. But I mean, I feel like this is something that's going to just happen very quickly on Windows. So just because it's
good,
Windows,
I'm very happy to hear that.
Yeah.
.NET 6.
Yeah, and there's not really much to say there other than that it's coming in November. So this is the basis for a lot of the work that I just talked about, Project Reunion and Mao, and actually Blazor too, right? Blazor is .NET in the web, essentially, C#, et cetera, et cetera. So originally .NET 5 was going to be the big, kind of like Windows 2000 was going to be the one that brought it all together. And then it was XP. .NET 5 was going to be it, but now it's .NET 6. So my only question there is whether Project Reunion and or Maui are going to be mature enough at that time to ship in 1.0 form. But based on the videos the sessions I watched this weekend, everyone seems to think, yeah, no problem. So
all I know is .NET rocks, baby. .NET.
Yes, exactly.
Yep, exactly. All right. Microsoft is updating the share experience across Microsoft 365. This sounds is this you, Paul?
I know. I'm so sorry.
Not Mary Jo?
Well,
no, these are not.
I saw this news, but I was like,
Yeah, you start writing it, and then you hate yourself immediately. It's still worse. I got through it. No, it's not interesting. It's a big thing, I think, in the scope of Microsoft 365, and I think people need to know about it. Just like the next story down about shared calendars, the shared calendars update is in Outlook for Windows. These are things that, it's like, whatever. I mean, it's finally here. Okay, fine. The share thing.
The funniest thing in the blog post was we've designated this the year of sharing.
Yes, that's right.
Like,
both these things are sharing.
You're sharing.
Yeah. He also shared a picture of the next version of Outlook. Did you see that little leak thing? That was kind of interesting.
Yeah, but who cared? Rounded corners and like cute icons. That was it.
You're killing me, Mary Jo. Anyway, so obviously you can share across all of the Microsoft 365 collaboration apps, right? So Teams, OneDrive, SharePoint, but then the main apps too, like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, et cetera. So there is a share interface that is in many ways common to all of these things. There are different ways to share. If you've ever shared anything from, say, like OneDrive is a good example, you know what this is like. You can add permissions for users. You can have a sharing link. There's all these different ways to do it. And so what they've tried to do is, first of all, they actually got a bunch of feedback from users, and then they tested different things. And it's honestly, I think it's really subtle, but they're trying to reduce clicks and make it more obvious and more discoverable how to do certain things. So all of those things, they just, setting permissions, copy links, the shared with dialog. There's a manage access settings dialog that comes up after you've shared. There's an actual share menu, which you see in OneDrive, SharePoint, and Teams, and then also in Office apps. These things are all going to be updated over the next year. At least one of these is available now. I think the quick permissions change is available now, but the rest of this stuff is going to happen sometime between soon and the coming year. Using Microsoft language. So, whatever. Anyway, I feel like I just had to mention it. I don't want to beat this one to death. I couldn't care less, honestly, but. The shared calendar feature in Outlook for Windows is actually kind of cool, only because Microsoft literally described it as the biggest change to Outlook for Windows since its initial release in 1997. And they also said it's something most users probably won't even notice. So hilarious. This thing was announced in July 2019, so literally almost exactly 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It's been in preview, it's been opt-in, and now it's going into production. So there's a new shared calendar experience at Outlook. I don't know. I just don't even.
You don't care anymore, do you, Paul?
I don't care. I don't. Not about Outlook. No, not much.
I don't either. Somebody's got to, though. Mary Jo, would you like to care about Outlook?
I sort of care about Outlook.
Okay.
But you know what? I was thinking about the shared calendar thing, and I remember writing about it 2 years ago, and then I'm like, but who do I share my calendar with? Nobody.
I know.
You have to have friends
honestly,
to approve.
I know. But I don't trust people enough to share my calendar with them.
Aside from your sharing phobia, I will say you just actually highlighted what I think is the number one problem with Microsoft 365, which is they announce 127 features every week.
Right.
And then there's nothing to plot. Well, okay, remember back in April you said something about you could write in Excel with a pen and it was going to auto. Did that ever happen? I get these questions all the time.
Me too. I get them all the time too. They're like, whatever happened with blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah. And then you go to the roadmap, right? And you try to find it, and
you're like, oh
nope.
yeah.
What, they just don't do it?
No, they either
this thing took 2 years.
They postpone it. Sometimes they put a note that they postpone. Sometimes they don't put a note, and they just leave it there, and they hope nobody will ask about it. Pretty much, right?
So sad.
Yep.
So sad.
Yeah, and then the hard part is too. Once they do it, then they take it off the roadmap. So then you go back and you're like, did they ever do this? And it's not on the roadmap anymore. And you're like, so did they take it off because they never did it, or did they take it off because they did do it?
Right.
I don't know.
Right. It's confusing. And this is too much of
Yeah,
it. It's so
it
hard
is.
to keep track of this stuff.
I know. It is.
So
It is.
if you were pining away for
Yeah.
shared calendars and Outlook, it's there.
No, I think that of the two sharing things, year of sharing, I think the shared calendars matters a lot more than the other one.
Yeah, no, I do too.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, the core sharing functionality in Microsoft 365 is not changing. They're just making the UI a little better, I guess
Yeah.
would be the way to.
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
major new feature there. It's just
No.
they kind of screwing around with every little part of it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. There
I
you go.
asked and
I
answered.
know. Sorry. I do know the answer, and I'm so sorry. Here it is.
Hey, actually, somebody in the chat room was asking whether Microsoft will make an appearance at Computex this year. When is Computex? It's in Taiwan? Is it going to be?
Isn't it right
It's
now?
virtual,
Is it
isn't it?
real?
I think it's
virtual.
I think it's right now.
It's right now?
Isn't that where?
June 1st through June 5th? It's right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought it was. So nothing from the Surface guys on that front. They tend to kind of do their own thing, don't?
Yeah,
you
they
know,
don't
What do
need
you think about
But
it?
we didn't even bring this up for the big event thing, but I wonder if there'll be any Surface thing, like the one more thing thrown in, like, and here's a Surface Duo.
What runs Windows 11 best? This.
Surface Neo,
or-
baby, it's back.
I want to see the
No,
Neo.
I don't
I
think-
really
it
want
won't
the
be the
Neo.
Neo.
I
It
would
won't be
buy
the
the Neo if they showed it. I will buy it.
No, it won't be the Neo, but maybe it would be like some kind of a new Surface Pro or some kind of a new. Maybe I'm just speculating because Panos heads up Windows, but he also heads up Surface still. So
Is Panos the Greek word for that two-headed Hydra thing? Is that what Panos
yeah,
means?
No,
I think it
Windows
means
and
bread.
Surface.
I don't know.
Panos means foldable device, doesn't it?
Foldable device.
Like two Panoses together. No,
Sure. Panai.
Panai.
It's a diminutive of Panagiotis, a Christian name. So that's his full name is Panagiotis.
Well,
I don't know what it
so many
means.
names. That guy.
It means holy saint. Wait a minute. It's a common male Greek name, derives from the Greek epithet Panagia, all holy,
Oh, boy.
for Mother Mary, Mother of Jesus.
Well,
So it's a religious name. Panagiotis. You can also call him Takis if you want. It's a diminutive for Panyo.
You don't want to know what we call him, Leo.
And Panayota is commonly reduced to Gyota or Yota and Nota. All of this from Wikipedia. Thank you very much.
It's a fact.
It's a fact because it's
It
in
is.
the Wikipedia.
it's not a factoid though. It
Right.
is not.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So it's the sainted or the sainted one.
All right.
Okay.
Anyway,
So glad we asked.
Yeah.
what else we got here?
New PCs. That's what we got. Or no, we don't have new PCs.
Well, we do. I don't really. I'm not going to cover this too much. To me, this week has been interesting because there's these parts of the year where we just do earnings, right? And that time has passed, and all of a sudden, there's these other companies doing earnings. And I guess for some companies, their fiscal year apparently runs from like May 13th until the next May 12th. They're all in their own little schedules.
I
you know?
know. They are.
So Lenovo and HP, well, actually, I don't know if you saw it today, for example, Zoom announced their earnings. Zoom
Yeah.
earning almost $1 billion in revenue.
Wow.
And
They killed it.
192% year over year growth,
Yeah.
So,
Crazy.
so it's not slowing down. That's interesting.
Not yet. Not yet. So that's amazing. Lenovo, kind of the same deal. Well, much bigger numbers, but 15.6 billion in revenues for the quarter. This was entering March 31st, actually. Net income of 260 million. 60.1 billion for the full fiscal year, right? So they are the biggest PC maker in the world, and they just had their fastest growing quarter in almost a decade. That's what's going on in the world these days, right? Revenue was up 48% year over year, thanks largely to pandemic buying of PCs. And I think their PC business, I'm sure it's here somewhere. I can't see it for whatever reason. Yeah, well, I didn't write it up this way. So they had 15 billion in revenues. 12 of that was from PCs. So it's like pretty much a PC business. HP, very similar. They're the number 2 player. They had 15.9 billion in revenues, 1.2 billion of net earnings. Once again, their PC business is 2/3 of their revenues. The other 1/3 is the. Sorry, that's not true. PC. No, that is true. Is printers. And then their big deal was consumer PCs was the big win for them. 72% growth in consumer PCs, 10% in commercial PCs. 44% unit growth, 63% of their products are notebooks. It just goes on and on. It's like, just lots and lots of money there. And then Acer, I don't know. I don't cover it too much. There are two Computex related announcements that I looked at. One was Acer. They do this every year. They announce 120 computers. I pulled out a few that I thought were interesting. They sent me one for review, and it wasn't even one that I pulled out for the interesting list. But SwiftX, which is probably the coolest looking one. Some gaming stuff, lots of tablets.
I like the SwiftX because it has kind of this, I don't know what you call that, articulated screen on it.
Yeah,
so
it's really cool.
Yeah.
So that's neat.
The rest are pretty generic. Yeah.
Yeah, they do a lot of business class computers. They also just warned
MSI and Asus announced new gaming systems.
Yeah.
A lot of hot gaming laptops out there now.
I mean, I don't. There isn't.
Alienware.
Life is too short to write about every single one.
There's a lot of laptops in the world.
There are.
Yeah, but I was curious about the Intel thing. I don't know if you saw this. Intel did two things that were really curious this week. One is they typically do these annual pushes for new generations of cores and probably Xeon CPUs as well. And normally you would think we would be moving toward like the 12th generation this coming fall because, 11th generation was last fall, and as they kind of fill out the product lineup. But what they announced this week was two new 11th generation Core U series CPUs. Now these are the ones that go in Ultrabooks and tablets and just normal laptops, right? This is the main. This is probably their biggest seller, the U series. And they actually replaced the two Core products in this family, the i7 and the i5, with new versions that are offer better performance and can hit a 5 gigahertz clock speed in some cases, right? 25% performance improvement over their predecessors, which are like 6 months old, So it was kind of an interesting midstream replacement. The other thing they did was release their first PC-based 5G chipset, which is going to ship on an M2 card, which is also very interesting. And Intel sold, did they sell or get rid of their 5G business when Apple, I don't remember. Apple basically signed back on with Qualcomm, or I don't remember exactly what happened there. But they used to have a 5G business for 5G modems to smartphones, but they got rid of that a couple of years ago. So this is kind of them making another 5G push, but this time for PCs and in the M2 form factor, which is, okay. That's cool.
That's cool.
That's my whole Computex story. That's all I got.
That's it. That's the whole deal.
Yep.
Okay. Let's take a break.
Yep. Okay.
So Paul can wallow in his despair. Mary Jo can wonder what's going to happen to the guy outside.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you and I could talk about, Paul might want to chime in on this one. Audible. Yay. We are big Audible fans here. As you know, I joined Audible in the year 2000. So 21 years listening to the best audio content in the world, not just audio books, performances. They have the great courses, which are incredible college lectures from the best people in the world. I mean, it's just an amazing place to go. And I'm going to have to recommend, of course, Project Hail Mary.
How was that talk with him, if you don't mind me?
Fantastic. Yeah. He is every bit as fun as he ever was. It's not going to his head, although they're already making a movie of Project Hail Mary with Ryan Gosling, and he's got points. So, but it's not going to his head. Wow. So that and R.C. Bray is gone, but the new guy, Ray Porter, is just as good. It has a lot of that same kind of snarky feel to it. It's good. It's funny. Anyway, nice audiobook. I would recommend that. What are you reading these days, Paul?
Later by Stephen King, right? So it's kind of a shorter.
You'd mentioned that. I can't wait to read that. Yeah.
That's a good one. And then the one I'm listening to right now is called Blood, Sweat, and Pixels. The triumphant, turbulent stories behind video games are made. So it's basically the story, I want to say, let's call it like 12-ish video games. So every chapter is how that game was made, and the stories the developers have about how that went.
I love the Audible Plus. That's actually the newest thing since Audible has been here. It's a whole catalog of books you can listen to. So Audible's all about giving members a chance to listen to and discover new favorites, explore new formats like the exclusive Word Plus Music series, or even podcasts or theatrical performances. So in this collection, there are thousands of audiobooks, original entertainment, podcasts, including ad-free versions of your favorite shows, also exclusive series. They're all available to download or stream. You can listen anytime, anywhere, on any device. You'll never lose your spot. I really like that. Whether you're driving, you're cooking, you're cleaning your house. I listen now when I'm gaming because I don't want to feel like I'm wasting time gaming. I'm listening to the Wheel of Time series, 15 audio books. Really, that was actually a recommendation for somebody in Club Twit. Said, "Oh, you haven't." They were talking about WOT. I said, "Well, I don't know what's WOT." You haven't listened to the Wheel of Time? It's incredible. So Robert,
I think I read those
Robert
as they
Jordan,
were coming out.
Robert Jordan. Yeah, you probably did. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm in the middle of the very first one, which is Eye of the World. I would certainly recommend that. If you like Lord of the Rings, if you like Game of Thrones, it has that, fantasy element in a kind of, at least so far, in a medieval world. There are 15 of them. And when I say 15, each of them is more than 20 hours. Some of them are as long as 40 hours.
15? I only read like 3 of those.
They go on and on and on. Robert Jordan. Let me get his name right. Robert Jordan.
Yeah.
The Wheel of Time. Anyway, that's a great series, too. If you're disappointed with how Game of Thrones turned out and the fact that it's still not finished.
I was going to say, turned out.
This one is finished.
After cataloging every citizen of a planet, we've never told a story.
Some people like short stories. Go with that Stephen King short story. Or novella, I guess is more like a novella. But some people like long. I do. I like to get immersed and then stay immersed. I read all 21 of the Aubrey Maturin seafaring novels on Audible.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God, they're so good and they're so well written. And that was back when I was commuting back and forth to Tech TV. So I was 2 to 3 hours in the car every day.
Oof, boy.
Yeah, oof. That frankly saved my life. So I have a little soft spot for Audible. Audible.com/Windows. Listening to Audible can inspire, can connect. It's all in the app on your iPhone or your Android device. Audible Plus, your playlist for life. You can also listen on your computer. And by the way, I have to say it's one of the reasons I keep buying Amazon Echoes. It's great just to say to the Echo, read to me. And it picks up where you left off. It's wonderful. What are you waiting for? Delve into your next title on Audible with Audible Plus. New members can try Audible Plus for 30 days. Download the Audible app. Get started with the free trial at audible.com/Windows. Or if you're on your phone, text Windows to 500-500. Please do text Windows. Don't text Doors. Don't text some other show. Text Windows. That way they know.
Don't text 11.
Don't text.
Even though that might not be the name.
It might be 11, but we want you to text Windows just so that they know you heard it here. AUDIBLE. Audible.com/Windows. Or text Windows to 500-500. Start that free 30-day trial of Audible Plus. We love Audible. It's funny because we have Club Twit, and I should give that a little plug because for $7 a month, there's ad-free versions of this show and every show we do, audio or video. The ads are cut out, including the ad I'm about to do for Club Twit. That'll be cut out too because you're already a member. If you're a member, you don't need to hear about it. But I think for $7 a month, we thought the big benefit would be ad-free versions of the show, no trackers, no ads. But the Discord, as you know, Mary Jo, because you spent a lot of time in there, isn't it great? It's so much fun.
It's awesome. Yep.
And we also have a Twit Plus feed with all the stuff that on the cutting room floor. But a number of people joined the club and said, "But what about the Audible ads?"
So that's a good point. They're almost like a pick
mini show. They're like a mini show and a show.
So I actually created a you can have channels in the Discord, and I created in the Discord a bunch of channels, one for each show. But then there's a channel called All the Ads that is just the ads that you missed.
That's funny.
In case you want them.
In case you want them, we have all the ads. You can get them, but you get them on your own terms when you feel like it. If you want to know more about Club Twit, it's twit.tv/clubtwit. And thank you for so many people, members now, I think over 3,000, and we really appreciate the support. It helps us a lot, frankly. All right, moving right along. I stopped after we talked about PCs, so I think it's time, the natural segue. Actually, do you want to talk about you did talk about the U series, right?
Yes.
Did you? Okay.
I did, yeah.
So let's talk about web browsers. Before we do, though, I have a complaint.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Is it something Mary Jo did? Because I think I know what it is.
I have a feeling.
No, it's not. I've been using Edge like any good person. I like Edge. It's great on Windows.
Yeah.
It keeps annoying me saying, you're not using the recommended settings. Would you like to use Bing as your search engine? No.
Yeah.
So supposedly this is a bug.
What? Yeah, I'll say.
Yeah.
Really?
Edge 91, they say it made that come back where it asks you, do you want to use Bing as your search engine, or do you want to just keep your settings as they are, even though that's not what Microsoft recommends.
Yeah.
And I think they fixed it because I got that bug once and I haven't gotten it since on my Open Tabs page.
It's like, do you want to continue? Do you want to keep using what you're using, or do you want to never find anything on the internet again? I'll try. Let me try the second one.
They are trying so hard to get people to use Bing still. Like they're tying things to Bing rewards and they're doing everything about Bing. And I'm like, guys, it's overkill. Don't do this. Don't do it this way because you turn people off.
Well, and I think this would kind of fool a lot of people. Use recommended browser settings, get world-class performance, privacy, and productivity as you browse with the latest Microsoft Edge, the best browser for Windows 10. Yes, I'm using it. Thank you. Use Microsoft. Then there's two choices. Use Microsoft recommended browser settings, default browser, Microsoft Edge, default search engine, Microsoft Bing. At least they told me. Or don't update your browser settings.
So this is, to me, is classic Microsoft.
Bad choices.
Well, they've been doing this kind of thing for years.
I know.
It's just.
It seems to have stopped though, because I got it one time. And
I haven't seen it. Yeah. I saw it twice in two different forms. Mm-hmm. And then it seems to have gone away.
I think there's a lot of dumb stuff with Edge. I mean, Edge. I have Edge set as my default, and I install a new version of Windows, or upgrade, whatever. Reboot, and this dialogue comes up. You should try the new Edge. Guys, come on, be a little more sophisticated than that. I am using the new Edge.
Yeah.
So it's just Microsoft.
I know.
But and this is the sad thing. I love Edge.
I do too.
I know.
They don't have to do this.
It's a good browser.
Yeah, I don't love Bing, but I do love Edge.
I know. I use Edge with my search engine set to Google. That's how I use it.
I like it better than Chrome.
Yeah.
Do you not, Paul? You said
No, what I said too was someone said they don't have to sell us on it or something like that. Well, maybe they kind of do,
they
right?
Probably do. Yeah.
Yeah. Because
Chrome still has
like
overwhelming.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. So I like it better. I like the way it works.
It's all the benefits of Chrome without the crud.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but they're adding crud to it too. That's the other issue here. Edge has evolved into something that is a little bit like Microsoft Word in that I have to constantly micromanage settings every time I do a new install, which is getting a little old. But
I know. You know why this is though? Because and it's a corporate structure reason, which is crazy, right? So the Edge team, the MSN News team, and the Bing team are all part of this group team called WebXT or something like Web Experiences. So anytime they add new features to Edge, like shopping related and coupons and like price comparisons, it's meant in a way to push you to Edge. To push you to Bing or push you to MSN News, sadly.
Right.
Because
which are the two things I want nothing to do with either of those things. I want nothing to do with that. I replaced the new tab experience with something called Momentum, which is just a beautiful photograph and the 10 links that I need every day. I don't want to see news stories about the Kardashians or about NASCAR or whatever other nonsense is on this thing. I just don't care about that stuff.
Do you know, I just saw somebody give this as a tip somewhere. I'm sorry, again, who I don't remember who did this. You can set when you set up your new tabs page in Edge, you can set it so you never see the news content. Even on half the page, none of it. Like you can just turn your settings so you never see it. And that's what I did. I'm like, oh, good. I never have to see that content. That's good.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
No, you can't. That's true. Yep.
Yeah.
No, I like using Momentum because every time there's a version upgrade, I have to go back in and re-enable it. It keeps turning it off, which is hilarious and also slightly predatory. But look, the thing is,
I know.
I want Chrome, but I don't want the Google stuff, and that's what Edge is. And I have to say, even some of the features which I kind of scoffed at initially, like the coupon thing, has actually worked out for me. I've actually left that enabled. Yeah. And I've gotten coupons and have saved money.
Great.
Yeah,
That's
that actually works great. Yeah.
I know. I've saved a lot of money using that. So that one I won't disparage. I will not.
We can have a conversation about whether that should be part of a core browser or whether it should be an extension, and how Microsoft could make it discoverable by having a first run experience where you check off the things you want or whatever. But they've chosen what they've chosen, so it's part of the browser, and you can turn it off if you don't want it. That's true. A lot of these features, right? But I still think it's a better mix of features, than you see on Google. So
right. But this next one that's in the notes, this is so funny. This is in the notes because last week we were talking on the Discord server about this. Somebody asked on Discord, didn't Microsoft do something with HTTPS in Edge? And I was like, I thought they did this a while ago. And then there was a debate about whether they had turned it off because there were bugs or something. And then this new feature that you're about to talk about has a lot to do with what they're doing there, right?
Yeah. So this Edge 91 just came out. So since we did the last show, that version has come out in the stable channel, right? So this nothing major, but color themes are built in. You don't have to go to the extension page, site or whatever. Sleeping tabs are faster, better performance. Bing rebates, integration, and price history have been added to that coupons feature, that kind of stuff. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
But version 92, which I guess would be out in, what are we on now, a 4-week schedule? 6 weeks. It used to be 6. I guess it's probably 4 now.
I think it's 4, yeah.
Yeah, so that one, actually, it's not that far away. Is going to enable automatic HTTPS, right, which is the encrypted, secure version of HTTP, yeah. And this is something that people who are technical that sort of see the advantage of this have been using extensions for to date. And if you want to test this, you can download the dev or beta version of the browser, I believe. I think they're both on 92 now. So it's happening. Yeah, so sometime in, actually probably by the end of this month, I guess, right? Or maybe the beginning of July.
So if you go to a site that says it's not secure because it's using regular HTTP, it'll automatically redirect you to S, right?
Right.
Or do something to make it go to S.
It can't always do that.
Yeah.
Right, if it can. Yeah.
Yeah, Google did this ages ago with HTTPS.
Yep.
And I guess it wasn't immediately included into Edge. But
they had bigger fish to fry.
Yeah.
Not really. Like collections and coupons.
I know.
We all have different priorities.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that happened in the browser front is Mozilla. I don't know what I was going to say Melissa. Mozilla released Firefox 89, which doesn't sound like that major of a release, but this has that Proton UI, which actually I have to say I think is really nice. Mary Jo wouldn't notice a difference. It's rounded corners, and the tab buttons kind of float, and the selected tab feels like it's kind of coming toward you almost. New icons and typography, streamlined toolbars and menus, et cetera, et cetera. So there's some
I kind of like it.
Functional. I do too. I think it's pretty. I really
they've done a nice job. Yeah.
But I'm superficial. Of course, I would like that.
We're easy.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's a major release.
You better give it a new name. It's brand new.
Right. Exactly. It's Firefox 11.
Steve Gibson kind of mocked Microsoft yesterday.
Oh, good. I want to hear about that.
A surprise. He said that this blog post about the new SolarWinds attacks was making a big deal out of nothing. He says just a new phishing campaign. Right?
Right. That's true. I think the thing that makes it interesting is that it got in through a partner of the U.S. State Department that has ties to
and it's going
international
after
organizations.
NGOs, non-governmental organizations, basically charities in many cases. And it's using those same solar wind vulnerabilities.
Well, let me tell you something, Leo. Microsoft is against hacking, so they're just taking a stand on it.
Shocking.
Yeah, taking a stand.
Boy, that's bold.
Where others won't.
So I guess he wasn't really complaining about Microsoft's blog post as much as the kind of breathless way it was reported by the press, as if this is it's all over, it's happening all over again, and it's not quite the same as in the past.
That's how I wrote it. I had like a little fan going. I was like, oh my,
I'm getting the vapors.
I am getting the vapors.
Nobelium's at it again. I've always relied upon the kindness of strangers. Unless they're from Russia.
I thought you were going to say Steve Gibson had a cynical take because he felt like it was Microsoft saying, see, if you were just using the cloud, this probably wouldn't have happened.
Oh, well, I don't know. Is that the case? I think it would still happen to you.
Yeah, I think it would too. But I saw some people saying this is why Microsoft keeps pushing these security things to say, this is why you should be using our stuff in the cloud. I'm like, well...
Oh, you mean their stuff? You mean like those Exchange servers that we're still dealing with?
Yeah, I'm not sure this is a compelling argument, to be honest.
I know. I'm like, I don't think that fits here, but I mean, they do that sometimes with security stuff, right? Like when it hits on-premises servers and not the cloud servers, sure, but yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, that's Steve's opinion, and I didn't go one way or the other on it because I mean, I think it doesn't hurt to tell people it's out there and don't fall for it. Yeah.
Telling people not to fall for phishing attacks is kind of a
I think that's a hopeless
breath right there.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right. It's kind of like telling Mary Jo, don't listen to the Xbox segment that's about to happen.
Exactly.
It's kind of like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is.
I mean, you're gonna hear it.
You're gonna hear it.
I'm saying.
You're gonna get it.
You may not want to fill your head with Xbox nonsense.
And now, by the way,
what she hears is Xbox Xbox
I do.
It's
and
like
I just tune right out.
Like in Peanuts, the teacher. Wah, 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 wah. Wah, 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 wah. What's new in Xbox, Paul Thurrott?
So this was going to be the biggest story of the week, and it just the reason it isn't is because it's not true. So Microsoft France, well, actually it was Xbox Wire France. So the French version of the Xbox Wire blog posted an article stating that the Xbox Series X and S had a 2-year console exclusive on Dolby Atmos and Dolby Vision.
Wow.
I was like, that's pretty amazing.
That's incredible.
Dolby Atmos, of course, is the immersive audio, kind of 3D audio if you want. It has height and depth and position. Yeah. And Dolby Vision is basically HDR. We'll call it advanced HDR. I don't know. Anyway, it's not true. So
liars.
So Microsoft had to come out and say that a blog post was mistakenly published by a local Xbox team that included inaccurate information regarding the exclusivity
yes,
of Dolby Atmos and Dolby Vision on the Xbox Series X and S. There is no exclusivity agreement of either tech on Xbox. We are proud to partner with Dolby, blah, blah, blah. You get the idea. So anyway, not a story. That's hilarious. And then, if you've been paying attention to my Xbox stuff, like, Mary Jo does, you know that.
And who wouldn't?
And who wouldn't, thank you. At the beginning of every month, there's always the Xbox, games with gold stuff. We talked about that last week. And then they start releasing new games on Xbox Game Pass. And Xbox Game Pass works across PC, console, and mobile using xCloud or the Xbox, what do they call it, cloud gaming or whatever. Normally, there are 2 announcements each month. So the first announcement's for the first half of the month, and there are usually 7 to 12, 15 games, whatever. And then they do a second one for the second half of the month. So they just did their first one for the first half of the month for June. And it's a really short list. There's only, I don't know, say 4 games? Is that even right? 4 games. Yeah, it's just 4 games. It's like 4 games. And it's, and then, there's some other stuff. They talk about touch controls. They talk about, some of the games that are leaving Xbox Game Pass. But I think the reason it's a little light is because on June 13th, which is right at that midpoint of the month, there's going to be an Xbox and Bethesda game showcase. And they're going to announce there'll be a lot of game demos and blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
And so I think they're kind of waiting for that. And maybe we'll see some more, bigger and more games in the second half.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's my guess.
It's a fair guess.
That's my guess.
Let's give our folks in the Discord a chance to raise their hands. Raise your hands. Say hallelujah. Sing hallelujah. No, raise your hands if you have any comments, thoughts, or questions.
Anecdotes, poems, limericks.
You can read poems, poetry as well.
Beer shanties. Beer shanties are encouraged.
Beat poetry.
There once was an Xbox lady who brewed some very fine beer.
Yep. I'll swing my mug around and I'll get coffee everywhere because it's coffee now.
Somebody should write a Windows Weekly shanty. I think that could be done.
For sure.
The Windows Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody's raising their
And
hands.
the best one, the best shanty gets to go with you to the French Laundry.
I don't know what I'm going to do if I...
Wow.
Yeah. I'm trying to get Mary Jo to
It's
fly
bad
out.
timing. It's bad timing.
Yeah, now that we know the Windows event is that day, that's going to be impossible to get anybody.
That's a little tricky.
Yeah.
It's a little tricky.
They're all going to be celebrating the new Windows
Thank
down
you.
at their
We're
local...
going to be having Windows 11
They're gonna have
parties
to-
at home.
They're going to call
House
up the
parties.
National Guard because of all the rioting.
I sent away for that Windows 7 house party thing. We got a deck of cards, a balloon.
Yeah,
little bag of
I got
confetti.
that. I've got the cards still. I think I still have the cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought maybe these will be valuable someday. No,
Yeah, not really.
not really. Yeah. Anybody in the chat room? Any questions? No. You know, everybody. Well, wait a minute. Now we got some people in here. Quite a few people. Let's start with Sir Jowrick. Sir Jowrick. Come on down. You join us on the stage. Now, one of the things that we always have trouble with is the push to talk feature.
Right. It looks like he's not muted, so I think we're in good shape.
Oh, good. That's a start. Speak to us, Sir Jowrick. Are you a knight of the shining something? Maybe am I? Oh, you know what I have to do?
there
Wait a
it
minute.
is.
No, it's not your fault. Here it is. Now speak to us, Sir Jowrick.
Can you hear me?
I hear you now.
Yes.
It's my fault. I had the wrong pot up.
Oh, quite all right. Yeah, it's just my gamer tag. It's just Sir Jorwick has been everywhere.
Which game is Sir Joe? Where did Sir Jowrick first appear?
I actually created it in D&D.
Yeah, so real games, sitting at the table with actual people.
Yeah.
Wow. Sir Jowrick. It sounds like a Warcraft handle, World of Warcraft handle.
Right. It's no Hammerhand, but that's fine. That's fine.
Is that your name, Paul Hammerhand?
It's a Lord of the Rings reference.
okay.
But yeah, I had a friend who did use that for a D&D thing. It doesn't matter.
Go ahead, Sir Jowrick. Where are you calling from, first of all?
Well, my real name is Blake. I'm from Corpus Christi, Texas.
Hi, Blake. Welcome.
Hi. I'm actually an IT department of one, and one of the things with Windows doing these the semi-annual, like the H1 and H2, these last two have been easy. But do you think with I know they've been talking about doing like the command line updates or I forgot what the new
WinGet.
like you can
The terminal.
Yes, thank you. With that, do you think they might be making it easier for us to be able to push out, updates
Just
easier?
those things.
Because I'm not an enterprise, so I don't get all the tools that, I get to hear about from other people. A lot of times I actually have to go into workstations as an admin and update them. So I didn't know if this would address anything like that.
That's a good question. So I should have mentioned it. I didn't say this earlier, but WinGet is going to be part of Windows, right? So it will be added probably to 21H2, I would imagine. And I think the same for Terminal. It's probably the version. Unless they ship a cumulative update that adds it to all supported versions of Windows ahead of time. And I guess that's what you're asking in a way, because there are these, what are we calling these things? Windows Feature Experience Packs.
Right.
That could arbitrarily add features like this, and that could be something that you could control, whether they get them or not, I suppose, right? So they've never said how they're going to add those things to Windows. Maybe that will be how they do it.
Okay.
I know. I think we're going to hear more about the Feature Experience Pack and how they are going to update certain things through there at this Windows event. I think they've got to say more about that, right?
Right. So it's an open question. So we unfortunately we're in a point in time where we just had 3 very minor feature updates that were really cumulative updates, and I think I made the case last week that the most recent one was even less than that. And now we're facing what could potentially be a big update. So I guess it depends whether 21H1 is a thing like we've seen before, which would be great, and whether Sun Valley is something different, and maybe it's something that gets applied as different updates. We don't know. We don't know what the packaging is yet, and and WinGet and Terminal and probably other features, whatever else is coming into Windows. We don't know how they're going to do that either. So it's an open question right now, unfortunately, because we just don't know.
Thanks, Blake. It's good to hear from you. Thank you for joining the club, and we're glad to have you in here.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed the show.
Rick. Thank you. Let's see who Yoshi is the next in line. Yoshi, unmute and come on down. Hi, Yoshi. Push to talk. Remember that push to talk, whatever that button was that you assigned. Yeah, you're unmuted, but I don't hear any sound coming out of you. There's the setting for push to talk is, I think, on by default, but you can go in and change it to just on voice activation, which is a heck of a lot easier because most of the time people don't remember what their keystroke was for push to talk. How about we talk to Dr. Mitch while Yoshi sorts out his issues. Go ahead, Dr. Mitch. By the way,
Leo, can you hear me okay?
We hear you great. Welcome, new member.
A new member just signed up today.
Hey, we really appreciate it. Thank you for your support.
Oh, thank you guys for the great content. I've been a big fan for a long time.
Where are you from?
Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
Nice. We love our Canadian listeners. That's great.
Thank you.
And I love Toronto.
I just wanted to give a shout out to Paul and Mary Jo as well. Always entertaining.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. So I had a question for kind of both of you in regards to kind of, let's say, the new Windows or Windows 11, whatever we're calling it. I still seem to have some inconsistencies in Windows 10 to this day in terms of UI. Like there seems to be still things that are just either legacy screens or they don't really render properly, or, it's kind of incomplete settings still to this day. And it just kind of blows my mind that there's going to be yet another version of, kind of a UI redesign. I'm just kind of wondering if you guys think that that's, if we're going to see the same thing when it's a new version of Windows, but there's still going to be all this, all these pieces that are still kind of pulled in and haven't really changed.
Yeah. So in other words, how consistent will this be? Will it just be like a surface level thing, or will it actually go beyond what Windows 7 touched and hit up the legacy UIs?
Exactly.
What do you think, Mary Jo?
I don't know. So it depends. Like you're saying, how deep this changes go. If it's like icons and rounded corners, sure, you could make that consistent. But if it's things that are deeper, say, like the thing that keeps coming up in leaks is touch controls and making the OS more friendly to touch. Can you go back and fix that? Especially if they do what I think they might, which is have 2 OS releases in parallel. Like if they have Windows 11 and Windows 10 21H2, would they go back and fix Windows 10 and make that more consistent at some level with Windows 11, or just say, people who use Windows 10, they don't really care if everything looks consistent?
So,
I don't know.
I mean, a lot of the UIs that are older are not touched that much by normal people, right? So the the MMC stuff, the control panel stuff.
Yeah.
But I feel like we have too much history with Microsoft to believe that they're going to do anything other than some kind of a surface level revamp. I expect the new UIs to touch all the modern UIs in Windows 10 and possibly a few other things. We've seen some hint of that, I think. What was I don't remember anymore. There was some kind of a leak about some legacy UI that was getting updated. I mean, File Explorer needs to be touched again.
Yeah.
But, are they going to go in and change computer management or disk management or device manager or anything like that? I mean, I can't imagine they would ever take the time or effort to do that.
I think it's also they don't want to throw people. Look what happened when they changed
there
the
might be
control
compatibility
panel.
problems too, right?
Yeah.
So there
I know,
are
right?
applications that rely on control panel. There are plugins for MMC that some businesses might use alongside disk management or something.
Yeah.
So it's a little more complicated than applying a can of paint. That's my we don't know, right? So we're just kind of guessing. I would just say based on experience, I wouldn't expect it to be much more than what you see. You can what you look at in Windows 10 today, whether it's modern or not, the modern stuff will be redone. If they could just hit consistency on that, honestly, that would solve half the problems. I mean, you've probably seen the post. They have like 17 different menu styles in Windows 10. Just different color scheme. It's just crazy. It's like there's a lot of work.
Yeah, that's kind of I see a pretty deep Windows. I work for a large organization that does IT consulting, and I just see Windows 10, and I see so many even regular user screens that they're not really, they're not as clean. Like I'm a Mac user as well, and when Apple did their last refresh, they really seem to get every single, and obviously you're talking about two different companies, but they really do seem to get even the screens that are that you don't see often, and I just think that's
Apple
kind of
had a lot less of it though. Apple, I think, did a better job. Not better, I don't know. They were more aggressive, I guess, with moving UI forward than Microsoft was. And I think Microsoft's concern has always been backward compatibility. And that is the blocker on a lot of stuff that, like, the rest of us kind of went, like, why don't they ever just get rid of the control panel, Where Apple has less of a concern with that. They're just more aggressive moving forward. It's just a different culture.
I was wondering if you thought this new version was kind of a way to go that aggressive route, and if you, like I said, if you're still keeping Windows 10, like Mary Jo was saying, for those users, they kind of they're fine with what was.
I think 11 is going to be aggressively cleaned up. I think that's a big part of 11.
Well, think about Windows 10X. I mean, the Windows 10X approach to this was just not to allow those applications to run, right? Yeah. Which is it's all in its own way kind of aggressive, right? So all of the UI in Windows 10X was new, because they weren't even exposing the legacy UI. And, maybe if Mary Jo's right and they're splitting this thing and we'll keep Windows 10 and we have this, maybe that's the answer for what happened to 10X. I don't, we don't know yet. Right? Yeah. So check back in 3 weeks. I mean, hopefully we'll have some answers. I don't know.
All right. Thank you, both of you. I really appreciate
Doctor.
the opportunity.
Thanks.
Thanks so much.
Dr. Mitch.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Show today brought to you by IT Pro TV. The best online source for IT education. Whether it's you're an individual looking to get into IT, you're already in IT, you want to keep your chops up and keep your certs up, or maybe you're an organization and you want to upskill your staff. And in one area that I know most companies are really buckling down on is cybersecurity. IT leaders need to constantly update their knowledge and understanding of what's going on in the industry, what threats there are out there, learn the recent details on the ransomware, the new phishing scams from SolarWinds, from Nobelium, Cozy Bear. This is exactly why individuals and businesses need to go to IT Pro TV. Whether you're a cybersecurity novice or an expert, IT Pro TV gives you the most up-to-date, crucial information and tutorials. And it's not just cybersecurity. It's on every aspect of enterprise technology. But their cybersecurity courses are fantastic, like the MTA Networking Fundamentals and the MTA Security Fundamentals. In fact, this month, Hacker Month. It's Hacker Month all through June at IT Pro TV. There's a free weekend with 5 hacking courses. That's June 12th and the 13th coming up, including EC Council's Certified Ethical Hacker, one of my favorite certs. I always say, I got to do this one. CompTIA's Pen Test Plus, learn to be a pen tester, also a really hot in-demand skill. There's going to be a webinar June 17th with YouTuber John Hammond on something he calls reverse malware. And that, by the way, will be also, if you can't make the June 17th webinar live, available thereafter. So it's a big month, Hacker Month at IT Pro TV. IT Pro TV gives you the IT training and certs you need to be successful. And man, they are always up to date. Because you know what? The world of IT is changing every single day. The tests change. The software is updated. The rules change. The laws change. The hackers change. You can stay up to date. And that's why IT Pro TV has 7 studios running Monday through Friday all day. So they can always update everything. Not only are they professionals working in the field, but they're also very good. They're chosen for their ability to explain it, to teach it. So there's 5,800 hours now on demand of IT training at IT Pro TV. And, of course, the new content every single day. You can get certified not just in cybersecurity, Apple, security skills, Python, Cisco. I can go on and on and on. They're the official video training partner for CompTIA themselves. So you know you're going to get the best training around in IT with the CompTIA certs that everybody wants, like A+, Security Plus, Network Plus, the new Pen Test Plus. IT Pro TV makes it so easy to get a good IT education because you can do it anytime without leaving your house. You can watch it in your browser. They have apps for Roku. They have apps for Apple TV, Chromecast, iOS, and Android. So really, it works anywhere you are. I saw a review on the site. It said, quote, "I really like the way IT Pro TV makes you feel like you're right in the room with the teachers." That's important. I also like how I can watch on Roku. The instructions are really clear. You can understand the content. The teachers are really great. It's true. I've known that for a long time, since they started. Tim and Don are good friends. itpro.tv/Windows. We've got a great deal. WW30 is the offer code for Windows Weekly, WW30. That gets you 30% off any consumer subscription. As long as you stay active, it stays 30% off. So that's forever, as long as you want to participate. 30% off. That's itpro.tv/Windows, offer code WW30. IT Pro TV. Build or expand your IT career. Enjoy the journey. Thank you, IT Pro TV, for supporting us here at Windows Weekly. And thank you all Windows Weekly listeners and viewers for supporting us by using that address so they know you saw it here. And that offer code, itpro.tv/Windows, offer code WW30. That's fun having the
I know.
Having the Discord in there. I really appreciate it.
Could I read a question from Discord? Somebody who doesn't want to do the voice.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
This
you have to do it in their
person
voice, though.
Okay. I don't know what Wizardling's voice would be, but...
well, I can imagine. But
he or she asked this last week, too, and I didn't know the answer. Does Paul know what happened to secure DNS in Windows? It seems like it may have vanished after briefly appearing.
I do not.
You heard anything about that?
Is he? I wonder if he's talking about DNS over HTTPS? Or?
No, I think he definitely means secure DNS.
So there was some sort of DNS issue, or just securing it, or
I don't know. I kind of remember. I said I remembered Microsoft talking about secure DNS in Windows.
Yeah, but I think it was DNS over HTTPS.
Yeah, I'm sure that's in Edge.
I think
now.
that's what it was.
So an Edge thing than a Windows thing.
Let me see. Okay, let me see if I can figure this out.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't know.
In real time.
I said you're going to have to ask Paul. I have no idea.
I feel like this came up last year.
Last year? I think it did. Yep.
I think it's still in the
I think it was a 2000.
It might still be in the dev channel. So that
what
might
is the
explain
threat that it's securing against?
That's what I'm
Nope, he says he's asking about DOH in Windows, not in Edge. He wants
DOH in Windows.
Right. So
does Windows do DNS queries for other things?
Well,
so
just
the whole idea of
general internet connectivity, right? I mean,
but right? Okay, I guess it looks up. I guess it does. I guess it would look up stuff. I guess. I don't know. So I mean, that's what a browser does because
Microsoft last August released to the dev channel DOH basically
for the whole OS
encrypted DNS. Yeah, in settings.
Right. That's right. Yep.
But if you go, I mean, I don't think it's there now. I'm just going to check anyway, even though I know it's not there. And where would this be? Wi-Fi settings. Yeah, jeez, this is tedious. I don't have Wi-Fi settings on this computer. Well, that doesn't matter. Let's see. I think it's still stuck in Dev Channel. I think that might be the problem.
Is it?
I think so. Think about where was Dev Channel last summer?
Last summer?
it would probably be in the same place it is now, right? It
right.
already was at the point where
they
it
set
was.
aside. Yeah, they set aside a number of features that they were like, we put it in the build, but now we didn't bring it out.
So it was in Windows preview builds, but it wasn't enabled by default.
And then probably still is. I don't have it. Well,
if you
have a dev
if you're
channel,
you're on an Ethernet connection, you can open Settings, Network, and Internet, and go to the Status page. Then select Properties, and then you'll be able to. You can choose preferred DNS and preferred DNS encryption. So you can choose a DNS provider, operating system wide.
Yeah, and that's not here in.
It's not there. Okay.
Yeah, he thinks he saw it. He thinks he saw it in Windows, and then it disappeared with 21H1.
Well, I mean, that's the problem with the dev channel, right? It's not tied to a specific Windows version, and we have had features that they announced last year pop up in 21H1, right, or 20H2.
Right.
I don't.
That's
think
why they kept saying. No, remember, that's why they said dev channel is not actually reflective of what's going to be the next release, because we test things in dev channel that don't necessarily show up in your next release. So
I guess the question here is whether or not this feature is still in the dev channel. I'm guessing that it is, and that means it could and probably will still appear at some point in the future. Maybe this will be one of those 21H2 /
It was in 2004 it came out, in 2004, huh?
Yeah,
and there is, I mean, this guy at WindowsOSHub.com has a registry hack. Not sure I'd want to go in there and do that, but this is the control panel that we were talking about.
Yeah.
I don't. I've not seen this. I'm not.
It's weird that they would take it out. It might, there were people complaining about it when Firefox started doing it, but all the browsers now are doing it because, for instance, in the UK, it meant that they couldn't find out what you were up to online, and so that they didn't like it.
Well, another question unanswered. What's next?
I know, sorry.
No, these are great, and you know what? It's good to bring it up, and then down the road, when it does come up, we'll be, our antenna will be out.
Well, now I'm going to remember this. So if it pops up in
exactly.
The next version, I guess
we'll talk about it. Yeah,
but they literally started previewing this.
So
last
weird
August.
that they put it in. Yeah. It's not like they took it out. It just
it's just stuck in insider hell. Which I think we can all equate with.
Yeah.
So are we. I did a bad thing this morning on my PC at home. I sought, and I found 21H1.
Oh, that's fine.
You were
3 minutes.
I was
3 minutes front to back.
Yeah, it wasn't didn't take long.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But I mean, are you done looking at all the new features, or do you still need more time for that?
It might take several days, but
to find them, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for all your questions and comments in the IRC, irc.twit.tv, always free, and of course the Club Twit Discord. Back of the book time, Paul Thurrott, a tip of.
I feel like we haven't done this in years.
A whole 2 weeks.
So the tip this week is, I kind of mentioned this earlier, which is just catch up on the build sessions. If you go to the build website, which is mybuild.microsoft.com, you can see the session schedule. All of the stuff is available now. So you can watch the sessions on video if there's materials like PowerPoints and all that. So you can download it. You can download the transcript if you just want to read what they're saying. I mean, it's really well done. And of course, what you should be doing is searching for the things you care about most. So like I said, I spent the weekend pretty much watching build videos, mostly developer topics, because obviously I don't have a huge social life. But anyway, it's totally worth doing. Yeah, no, it's okay. Got to see the Scots. It was good. And then the app pick this week is related to Pride Month. So Microsoft is doing a bunch of things around Pride Month, but one of the cooler ones is they're giving away the game Tell Me Why for free on Xbox, the Microsoft Store, and Steam for the entire month of June. So if you haven't purchased the game, I think it's available on Xbox Game Pass. And if you don't have that, if you just want to get it for free, it is available for free. And I haven't finished it. I did start it. It's I want to say it's a 3 or 4 parter. One of those kind of interactive mystery adventure type games. It looks like it's really well made. It seems like a good game.
Cool. Very nice. You also have an app. Oh no, that's
it. Yeah, I did it. Yep.
So it's
I burned right through it.
You did.
Feel like we've heard enough from
Bye. See ya. Mary Jo Foley's time. Enterprise pick of the week time.
Right. So Windows Server 2022 is what I'm going to talk about here. And if you remember, I think it was last week, maybe, I was saying it was in preview in the evaluation center. And everybody was wondering, so is it done? Is it not done? Well, Microsoft did a blog post yesterday and they said, guess what? It's in the evaluation center. I'm like, yep, that's what you said last week. But then they shared a little more. And basically, they aren't totally publicly confirming it's RTM, but it's RTM'd. And they're saying that they're going to have their partners and their OEM ecosystem now validated, and that it still is coming in the second half of the year. But basically what they're going to do between now, when it's RTM, and at some point later, number of weeks later, they're going to issue cumulative updates for it and do patches and fixes, just like they do with client. And then it will be released to the mainstream at some point in the second half of the year. So at least they admitted publicly and validated what we heard was the case, but they didn't say a week ago. So if you're somebody who's interested in Server 2022, and you should be if you run Windows Server, because it is the next long-term servicing channel release, you can go and get it now, kick the tires, because this is RTM basically, and they're just going to be fixing it between now and the actual, go-to-market release. It's almost soup, as I said in the notes.
Yes.
Almost.
And there's another pick, a bonus pick.
A bonus enterprise pick. So this story got kind of lost today with all the hoopla about the next Windows, but Microsoft bought a company today, which got very little play. They bought a company called Refirm Labs. And Leo, I don't know if you know them.
I don't.
They do an open source product called Binwalk. Binwalk is something that's used by IoT companies who want to find holes in their device security before the attackers do. So it basically analyzes your firmware on your IoT devices, whether they're servers or any other kind of edge device, to figure out if there are problems. So this makes a lot of sense for Microsoft to buy this company since they're pushing so much about edge computing, right? And last year they bought a company called Cyberattack, which also is focused around IoT security. So they talked in their blog post today about how now we have these two firmware-related, IoT-related security companies, and we're going to be integrating that in with our existing Azure IoT Edge technology, and it's going to make your devices even more secure if you use our products.
Nice.
So yeah, I had never even heard of them, Refirm Labs, but Microsoft bought them for an undisclosed amount today. And if you use Azure IoT Edge, you will probably be getting some new updates and new features because of these acquisitions, I would think.
And now, ladies and gentlemen,
And now,
the moment you've all been waiting for. If you're over 21, enjoy Mary Jo Foley's beer
get out of here.
of the week. Otherwise, go home.
Exactly. So just like Paul, I have a Pride Month pick for this beer pick. Torch and Crown, who I talk about a lot here in Manhattan, our only Manhattan-based brewery in New York City. They have a beer out called Rainbows Everywhere. And it's a nice IPA. It's like yet another New England style IPA that's very good. But what I made it the pick for was because they're taking all the sales of cases of this beer for the month of June, and they're donating all that money to LGBTQ causes and organizations in New York City.
Nice.
So it's a benefit beer, and they've got it pretty widely distributed here in the city on tap and in cans. So if you have a chance to try it out and you want to help out the different LGBTQ organizations, this is your chance.
Pride Parade in New York is the 27th, and I guess it's on.
Man, it's going to be wild.
It's going to be wild.
Yeah. After not having one last year.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to be celebrating.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, they'll be celebrating two things, both the new Windows 11
Thank you.
and Pride.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Police officers would not be allowed to participate as a group until 2025.
This is a big to-do here.
Yeah.
About, having police at the parade.
Right.
So, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So you're on your own, people. They're not coming.
good luck. It's going to be a party. Okay. So, June 27th should be fun.
Yep.
Mary Jo Foley is at allaboutmicrosoft.com. That's her ZDNet blog. It has its own custom domain, rightly so, because it's all about Microsoft, and that's all she writes about. When are you doing a beer blog?
I know. People ask that a lot.
Totally
I don't
do
know.
that.
I don't know. One day, maybe.
I do. Thank you for coming into the Discord, though. It's really and the Twit.community forum too. You're in there all the time too. Appreciate it. The fans love it. Paul Thurrott, of course, keeps to himself. He's got other things to do, but mostly play Call of Duty. I know how
Those
it is.
build session videos aren't going to watch themselves, Leo.
Exactly.
Paul is at not allaboutthurrott.com, although it is. Thurrott.com, THURROTT.com.
I've lost any sense of imagination.
You might want to go out and get that URL quickly before somebody else does. He also has a fabulous book, The Field Guide to Windows 10. It's updated regularly. Really a nice thing to have. Leanpub.com is a place to get it. You could get a print version, I guess, but you probably just get the ebook version.
Yeah.
That way it's updated easily. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Mary Jo. Have a wonderful week. We're going to plan on the 24th. Big day.
Yeah.
New Windows is here.
Hey, Leo, this is probably not something you want to blurt out on the show, but if I had to reach you via email, what would be the best way to do that?
Oh, you want to come out, don't you, for the...
He does.
No, I have something. I do have something I need to send you, though.
Oh, how exciting. Is it a Windows 11 party pack?
Yes. Send me one, too.
You could just leo@leoville.com. Works fine. I think I have a filter on your mail so that if it's from you, it goes to the most appropriate place.
Yeah, I
The
got
old
you.
recycle bin.
Well, if you don't get it, then...
No, I'll look for it. Thank you. Paul Thurrott, Mary Jo Foley. We do the show every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 1800 UTC. If you want to watch live, you can do that at twit.tv/live. There's audio and video streams there for free. You can also chat for free, irc.twit.tv. I mentioned that because we also now have a audio feed for the Discord folks in Club Twit, and also a place to chat in the Discord there. But everything we've always done for free is still there, including the Twit forums at twit.community, the Twit Mastodon instance, our own very own Twitter-like experience at twit.social. The shows are available for download after the fact at our website, twit.tv/ww. If you go there, twit.tv/ww, you also see a link to the YouTube page, which has all the shows, video from all the shows there. Also links to various podcast clients. You can actually, and an RSS link, so you can subscribe in any podcast client. That way you'll get it automatically. You don't have to think about it whenever it's available, which is usually of a Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening. What else? Oh, yeah, if you are using a podcast app and they allow you to leave reviews, do us a favor. Leave us a 5-star review. Paul and Mary Jo will like that, and so will I. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time on Windows Weekly. Bye-bye.
Android may be just another operating system, but when you check out all about Android, you'll realize that Android's also a ton of fun. Join me, Jason Howell, and my co-hosts, Florence Ion and Ron Richards, and a whole slew of guests that we invite on the show every week. Every Tuesday, in fact, we talk about the latest Android news, hardware, apps, and we answer a ton of your Android-related questions as well. Don't miss All About Android at twit.tv.